All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott, formerly of Rankin Technical College. And what I've been doing in my YouTube channel, JPS-Jeff Teaches Programming, with the one YouTube playlist, Jeff Teaches Programming-Python, is to do just that, teach you the Python programming language. I've done not the whole gamut, but I've done a lot of work on the Python programming language, and most of it has been through the use of console programs. So now I'm rewriting some of those programs and maybe doing a few extra ones, but doing them graphical user interface or GUI using TKinter or TKinter. Now, what I decided to do next, good, bad, or indifferent, is I'm going to use this learning Python by creating a calculator. Why? Because it's more like a calculator really than the one that I built. So what I'm going to do, if you look here, what I have is calculator GUI 02, and there's nothing in there. So let's open that up. Again, we've got just an empty folder here. I'm going to create a file, well, just as we have been doing, we'll call it main.py, and I'm going to put in quite a few comments at the beginning. The first one is going to say that this GUI calculator was gleaned, in other words, stolen, from the following URL/article. So there it is. It's on medium.com, Python Flood, learn Python by creating a calculator. Okay, so we're going to do that, and I'm going to grab a lot of their comments as well. All right, I don't claim that this is mine. I'm saying that I'm kind of replicating what is already out there, but I'm hoping it's going to give me a chance to go over a few more things with you. All right, so as it says, this article details the development of a basic calculator using Python in the TKinter library. The application is designed to perform basic arithmetic operations and offer a user-friendly graphical application for easy interaction. Okay, let's start with that. Now, just so you're aware of this, okay? Just so that all are aware of this. I'm going to add a couple things to this that are not put in the article, or at least I'm thinking about it. How's that? And I'm doing this literally from scratch. So the prereqs, knowledge of Python, that's what you've got. Familiarity with TKinter, that's what we've been doing. And ensuring that TKinter is properly installed. Well, we know that. The primary objectives of this Python project. All right, the goal is to create a functional calculator, to provide a GUI that's intuitive and easy to navigate, to ensure that the calculator handles inputs and errors effectively, and additional features. All right, so let's put this in here. I like the way this whole thing was written. All right, and as it says, it was step-by-step, which I thought was a very good idea as well. All right, now, don't worry, we'll pretty this up right now. So the primary objectives of this are, don't know what happened there, but let's go back to here. 1, the goal is to create a functional calculator capable of performing basic arithmetic operations. You know what they are. Okay, so there's number 1. Whoops. 2, provide a GUI that is intuitive and easy to navigate. 3, ensure that the calculator handles inputs and errors effectively. And finally, number 4, that it has additional features like square root and the ability to backspace to remove things, etc. All right, now I don't like this, so I'm just going to replace that with this. And I don't think I had any more in here. So, okay. All right, so let's just continue on. The basic calculator app is provided using Python with TKinter. The code is structured into various functions. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to import the libraries. So let's, So import necessary libraries. Okay. Now, I don't think they use message box in here, and I had been using it, and that's why you're not seeing it in here. All right. So it says we begin by importing TKinter and math. TKinter provides the necessary tools for creating the GUI, allowing for the development of a windowed application with interactive components, and the math library allows us to do things like square root. All right, we'll even add this. So this is a little bit of overkill, but it's okay. All right. Oops. All right. All right. Okay, so let's get going. Okay, so the first one, notice what it says. It's called calculate expression. Now, one thing, this isn't a big thing, but I want to mention it because I haven't before. Notice when they declare a function, they call it calculate underscore expression. All right, I've been using calculate expression, and I've been using what's typically referred to as, I don't know what you call it, if it's Pascal, but I would say calculate expression. I wouldn't have this, and the E would be capitalized. I'm just going to use what they have. All right, and you'll notice, again, I'm copying stuff. This is not going to be a long lecture. All right, and don't worry, it's giving us errors because we haven't created display, etc. Again, they're doing it kind of the way I did the last one. All right, so this is the function to evaluate the expression. And we will come in here and let's grab their comment underneath it. So it says, it evaluates the mathematical expression input by the user, retrieves the text from the display, and uses the eval function. Eval means just that. And there are articles out there, I've mentioned this back in my teaching days, that eval, there's one I believe that's called eval is evil. Eval can be misused very easily, and it can be the source for a lot of errors in programs. In this example, because really this is a relatively simple program, that's really not the case. Okay, so let's bring in that. All right, so the calculate expression function evaluates the mathematical expression input by the user. That is true. Let's hit enter again here. There. It retrieves the text from the display and uses, as I mentioned, the eval function to compute the result, which is then displayed in the entry field. Finally, if an error occurs, such as some kind of a syntax error or a divide by zero, it catches the exception and displays error in the display area. All right. So again, we've got these errors here because we haven't, no, display hasn't been defined yet. We will define it in just a bit. All right. So the next thing that we want to do then, I believe, is that the clear display. So this is going to clear the entry field. Now this one should look quite familiar to everybody. And what do I mean by that? All right, well, when you look in here, what is it doing? It is saying display, which is going to be the area of the calculator where our answer is, or where we input something. We're telling it to delete starting at position 0 to the end, whatever happens to be in there. All right, as it says, it clears the display field, which allows users to start a new calculation. Okay, pretty obvious. All right, let's keep working our way down. Now, delete last character. Oh, I guess here I didn't put in this, so let me add this as well. It uses the display.delete to remove any text from the field. Okay, we already talked about that. Whoops. Okay, let's quickly add that in here. All right. Okay, so let's continue on. The next one is what's going to allow us, for lack of better words, to, it's like a backspace, this delete last character. And we're going to go over that in just a moment. So I don't need to add my own stuff here. All right. As it says, this function allows users to correct mistakes by deleting the last character that we put in the display field. It first retrieves the entire text, then deletes just the last character, if there is one. All right, looks like I'm missing something here, probably a paren. Yep. So what is this doing? Again, current text says go into display, and display will be the area that we either are going to input something into, or it's going to show us the answer. All right, and grab whatever is in there. If there is anything in there, so that's, in other words, this is saying if there is some text in there. In other words, if it's not empty or it's not blank. I want to do something in here first, quick. I don't know why I always get this here, but it does it this way. All right, I'm moving all that stuff over one tab spot. Even this, it looks like it can be moved over one tab spot. So can this. I don't know why I get it like that, but it always does that, so that's fine. All right. Okay. Next, I believe, is the function for allowing us to insert a character. So adding character to the display. And again, that's just an insert. And notice, add character to display, so it's doing it a character at a time. It's a little different than the way we did the last one, the simple calculator that I created. And again, as I've already mentioned to you, we're getting these different error messages because display has not yet been defined. So it says it appends a specified character to the current text in the display. Then they add here, this function is crucial for building mathematical expressions a character at a time. So not a lot of code so far, but a lot of comments. Sorry. So this is calculating the square root. All right. So as it says, this is the function to calculate the square root of the current value. Let's move all this over. That'll go 1. That'll go 1. And that'll go 1. All right. I'm just going to say the square root. Okay. Again, I keep bringing in their comments. So as it says, it computes the square root of the value in the display. First evaluates to make sure there's something there, then it applies the square root function. All right. If it doesn't work, error is shown. Why would error be shown? Well, I believe that if you try to create the square root of a negative number, for example, I believe that's going to give you an error. So we'll look at that when we get to that point. All right. So again, if there's any kind of exception, you remove what's there and you display error. Okay. All right, what's left here? Not really a lot, to be honest with you. Creating the application window, the entry field, the button layout, and the assignment, the grid configuration. Starting the app, so not a lot. All right, we're on like step 6 of 11. So next is to create the window. We've done this many times. And I'm going to change this to basic calculator from medium.com. Again, I'm not taking credit for something that I didn't make. So initialize the main application window using tk.keyTK, which creates the root window for the calculator. And the title is set as well. Okay. I'll just say is set as well. All right. And that looks wrong. No, that is correct. That is correct. I'm sorry. All right, then create the field for the display. The display is pretty darn easy. Okay. Create the entry field for displaying both the input and the results. So let's do that. And again, let's come back up here as I have been doing and add their comment. Oops, I don't know what I did there. Let's just get rid of that. Do it again. Oh, I just added way too much. So. All right. Again, the display is an entry widget that shows user inputs and results. It has a width of 30 characters and uses an Arial for that. It's placed at the top window and it spans 5 columns. Okay. there really isn't a whole lot in here that's new that we haven't looked at before in the previous program or in other programs. This is a little different, this button layout. All right. Again, this is like step 8, I believe, of 11. And as I've already told you, I am not claiming this is my work. I'm telling you it's not my work. And again, at the top of the program, I'm giving credit where credit is due. All right, so this is buttons. As it says, the buttons are arranged here in a grid layout where each sublist in here represents a row of buttons. So that'll be a row, that'll be a row, that'll be a row, that'll be a row, that'll be a row. All right, and I'm probably going to end up making a couple changes to that in a little bit. All right, not right now though. All right, these buttons are arranged in a grid layout with each sublist representing a row of buttons. This layout helps to organize the buttons logically in the GUI. Okay, sure. All right, next, button creation and assignment. Again, I guess I can move these over. That all looks good. I'm going to be able to do the same thing here. So that 4, then that 4. I think the reason for this is the way that tabs are set up by default on my machine. I think that's what the problem is here. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. So after that else, there should be only one line, and this should be on a line by itself. And it should be lined up with the else. Oops. There we go. All right, we're almost finished. And let's look at that. That's the comment, and we've only got 10 and 11 to go. All right. Let's come into here. Buttons are created and assign specific functions based on their labels. For instance, the equals button is linked to the calculate expression and the clear button to the clear display. Other buttons like numbers and operators use add character to display with their respective text. Okay. All right, what do we have left? Grid configuration. And we will have their comment here. Put it there in just a second. I think this is all lined up okay. that allow the grid to resize the window. Okay. All right. The grid layout is configured to resize proportionally with the window, ensuring that the interface remains consistent and user-friendly regardless of the window size. So that's what we're doing there. And finally, I think the last thing just said to start the application, but we'll see. All right, and let's put in their last comment. The app window calls the TKinter event loop, which keeps the application running and being responsive to user inputs. This input continues until the user closes the window. Now, you can see right now, none of this has been mined. I've been doing basically a series of copying, okay? But let's save this. Let's run it. There it is. Okay, doesn't look terrible, but I want to do a couple things. All right, I'm going to steal a little bit from the last program I did, and what I mean is from Calculator GUI 01. Okay, I'm going to add that. We're going to put some geometry in here and change the size. So I'm going to put both of these in there. And I want to add font equal font settings all over the place. Where is that? There we go. Okay, so we've got that. Font settings. And we call this app window. So it's going to have to be app window dot geometry. All right. Now I don't know. Let's make it, let's try making it like 600 by 600. I have no idea if that's too big, not big enough. We'll see in just a minute. All right. So here we've got this font equals Arial 14. I'm going to change that to font settings. Okay, and I'm going to be changing that all over the place, or adding it all over the place. Text equal button text, and here, oops, not that, sorry, font equals font settings. Okay, and I'm going to just be putting that in a bunch of places here. Alright. Now, could I have missed one? I probably did. But let's just take a look at what we've got and see if I made it better, worse, or whatever. Alright. So it's a little easier to read now. Now you might not like this because I made it kind of square. It doesn't really look that much like a calculator anymore, you could claim. All right. But let's see. What else do we have? So we've got the square root. I was going to put in more buttons here, here, and here. So I was going to put in here modulo, in here integer division, and in here let's see. what if I leave the clear by itself and move that one down, and then put here the modulo, and then here the integer division, and then here exponentiation. Kind of like that better. I don't like the way that these are so huge across, though. I mean, this looks like an ugly calculator, to be honest with you. Let's see what happens if I cut this down. So what happens if I make it about, let's try 450 by 450. Now, it might not be wide enough, so it might go off the screen. I don't know. Okay, kind of like that better. So it's the width here. So let's make this. Let's just try 500 by 500. All right, yeah, that isn't too bad. All right, and I'm going to move this down to this row. All right, then I'm going to add the other three. So let's do that right now. So where we have the square root here, I am going to add it here. All right, and then here, I'm going to add the modulo. And then here, I'm going to add an integer division. I don't know if, well, I think it'll be fine. And then finally here, I'm going to add exponentiation. So let's see what I just did there. If I made it, you know, again, I'm trying not to break anything. So there it is. All right. Now, I don't know why this is so much smaller than the rest. We can look at that in a moment. Let's make this a little bit wider. So right now, the size of this is 500 by 500. Let's make this 550 by 500. I just don't want everything pushed up against everything else. I didn't like that. I guess we've got it set up so that it's stretching accordingly. So let's go back to 500 by 500. All right, so file, save all. Now, this is incomplete the way it currently is, just so you know that. All right. That's square root, character to display. Okay, let's see right now. I got to see what I got to add here. So file, save. Let's run this. And let's put in here, I don't know, 56. Like this, flip these. I like that one to be at the top and that one to be at the bottom, I think. 56 plus 3. 59, that's good. Times 2 should be 118. That's good. Minus 36 should be like 82, I believe. That's good. Divided by 4. And that's 20.5. That's fine. And let's change this. So let's remove what's all there. And let's make this 36. And there's that. That's good. Now, I don't believe this is going to work now. I am going to have to go back and add code for these. All right. So I don't think. So if I go 36 modulo, see, that's all it's putting there. 6 equals, well, that might have worked, but let's see. Let's try 37 modulo 6. Do I get a 1? Yeah, that's working. Good. All right. So let's do 37 integer division 6 and see if we get 6. We do. So that's working. Let's see if we put in here 8 raised to the third. 8 times 8 is 64 times 8 should be 512. All right. Looks like we've got looks like it's all working. Again, I don't like this, but that's because clear is a broader button, okay? And again, I know there's a way to fix all that, but I just don't want to go through that right now. I want to look at the size of this square root button. Okay. And then we'll go over the entire program. There's the square root. Well, we didn't put here font equal font settings. It looks a little nicer. Now that's actually too wide, but that's okay. All right. Actually, let's see. Let's make the width 5, like the rest of them are. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. All right, so let's go over the entire program. I'm going to leave this up, but I'll put it down here. So let's take this all from the top. All right, we'll put this over here, I guess. All righty. Again, last time I'll say this, it's not my program, but I thought this might be a little helpful in coming through and doing this. So there's the article it was gleaned from. Again, designed to perform basic mathematical operations. It's a basic calculator. It does not have in there things like logarithmic types of things, which could be added. All right. And I'm looking in here and I don't, the only thing I really don't like is that equal sign, how wide it is. So what if we went to that equal sign? Again, I'm being penny ante here, but I'm trying to make this look to where I think it's as good looking as it probably can look. So where's the equal sign? There it is there. It's equal to the equal sign. Again, we'll make the width here 5. And for clear, I don't know if it'll take this, but I'm going to try to make that 5 as well. All right, I like that now. Everything is pretty much lining up. I don't have anything here. Didn't have to, but I like the way this looks now. Okay? All right. So let's, again, go back up to the top, and we'll take a look at everything that's in here, okay? All right. Again, the goal, as it says, is to create a functional calculator to do the basic mathematical operations. In addition, JPS provided the following extra mathematical operations, math operations. And those were for modulo, also known as remainder. This for straight integer division. All right, and this for exponentiation. Okay, We wanted a fairly intuitive, easy to navigate user interface. I think that it is. Let's see. We wanted to make sure that it handled inputs and errors effectively. So again, if I come in here and put in -9 and I try doing the square root, I get error because that is not, you're not able to do that. All right. If I come in here and say 9 divided by 0, the same thing should happen. Okay. So that's all working. So again, these additional features are implemented to show the application's usability. So let's change this to additional features like square root, computation, comma, character deletion, comma, modulo, integer division, integer, and exponentiation are, I don't know what I did there, but that should be are implemented to enhance the application's usability. All right, so we brought in our libraries. As it says, TKinter is what allows us to do everything GUI. The math library is what's used for the calculating the square root. All right, evaluating the expression. One thing I did not do, not a big thing, but where are we defining display? There we go. I'm going to say here, justify equals center. Why? Let's run it one more time so you can see it. Try it again. Hopefully I didn't add an error into this, but maybe it did. Perhaps you forgot a comma. Yes, I did. Thank you. Okay, so let's file save all. Let's get rid of this. Move this down and run it again. So notice now it's in the middle. Is that a big thing? No. But I kind of like it better like that. So if I say here 375 times 12 and I hit equal, it puts it in the middle. If you don't like that, just get rid of the justify equals center. Okay, it's no biggie one way or the other. All right, so clear. Again, let's minimize that for now. All right. So first we had our function, as it says, to evaluate the expression. That's the calculate expression function. So what does it do? Well, let's look at it because it's pretty small. All right, as it says, it retrieves the text from the display and it puts it into result. All right. And then it deletes whatever had been in there. So it deletes the current contents. Then it inserts result into the display area. If there's a problem with it, it deletes anything that was in there and just replaces it with error. All right. For clearing the entry field, that's pretty doggone simple. As it says, it clears the display field. It uses the display delete method to remove any text from the entry field. All right. Next, we've got the equivalent of a backspace. And as it says there, it's a function that deletes the last character from the entry field. Notice what it says here. This function allows users to correct mistakes by deleting the last character. So if I put in 112 and I didn't mean to put any of them in there, I'd have to hit that backspace character 3 times. No biggie. All right. First retrieves the current text and then deletes the last character if any is present. I'll just say if any is present. So this is the current text, so that's grabbing whatever's in the display. If there's anything in there, I want to delete the length -1, which is remove the last character. All right. Okay, next we've got a function, as it says here, that will append characters. So this is as we add every single character in there. All right. So again, that's what we're doing. I was wondering, I don't think this will work, but I was wondering if we could do this. We could say character plus and then put a blank in there. I don't know if that'd work, just to make it look a little nicer. Let's try it. If I get an error, I'll just remove it right away. Let's try it again. Okay. So let's see if I put in 89. That's the problem. I don't want to do it there. I don't want 8 space 9. Okay. So no, it's not going to work. So everything is going to be bunched together, in other words. Okay, that's not a biggie. All right, for calculating the square root, as it says, it computes the square root of whatever is in the display. So it evaluates the current expression to make sure there is something there. All right. It's by grabbing what was in the display area, evaluating it with a square root function. Then it deletes what is in there and replaces it with an insert by what it just figured out in line 107. If there is any kind of error, it deletes whatever is in there and replaces it with the word error. All right. So we could make this one as an example. We could make that one square root error if we really wanted to. This creates our application window. All right. It initializes the app. It gives it a title. It gives it a size. And I put in the font settings. All right. It was something I put in that wasn't in there. I just thought it looked a little nicer like that. All right. Here, as it says, create the entry field. Now, notice they just call it display. I've been calling my entry fields like EF for EF display. You don't have to do that. All right. I'm just using my background and things that I have used, for example, when I was teaching C#, and I taught mostly GUI C#, although I wasn't just all GUI, there was console as well. But for the GUI, we use the Microsoft conventions, things like BTN for button, LBL for label, TXT for text box. So we don't have an entry field in there, but if we did, I would have called it EF. All right. All right, next, as it says, we define the layout of the buttons. They're arranged in a grid layout, as you can see right here. All right. So we've got a list, and each list has a sublist. So that's the first row, the second row, or row 0, row 1, row 2, row 3, and row 4. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 things in this first row here, and 5 in every other one. Okay. Next, as it says, we create the buttons and assign them functions. Notice buttons are created and assigned specific functions based on their label. So the equals does the calculate expression, the clear does the clear display, and every other button that's in here. So there's the clear, there's the backspace. So clear is going to call clear display. Equals is going to call calculate expression. The backspace is going to call delete last character. The square root is going to call calculate square root. And everything else, as it says, is just going to add a character to the display. And then we create the grid. All right. Allow the grid to resize with the window. That's what's in here. So if we didn't want to do that, okay, I could have left that out. As it says, it ensures that the interface remains consistent and user-friendly regardless of size. All right. Finally, we just start the program. All right. Now again, like I said last time, promise, this isn't mine. But I put it in there and I put in a boatload of comments, hoping that it would help people. All right. And to my knowledge, at least, it all works. Now, if I try doing this, it gives me error, which is good. That's what it should do. If I hit any one of these with an equal sign, it should just give me error. So that's doing what it should. Again, I made it bigger. I made the buttons bigger. I cut down the size of the equal and the clear button so it would look a little bit more uniform. Plus, I didn't even use these. So let's see if this works. So let's say 9 times, and we'll say 7 plus 8. So what should that do? Well, it should take and add 7 plus 8 first. 15 times 9 should be 135. So that's working. Last thing I wanted to do, and I forgot about that, was to flip these. All right. Which really shouldn't be that hard. I'm going to go down to here. All right. And now this will be plus. This will be minus. This will be multiply. This will be divide. Okay. I like the way that looks better. You may or may not agree. You could always change it around if you were so inclined. So you can see I flip them around. I like the way that looks better. Okay. All right. So that's what I wanted to do here. I think I'm going to do 2 more programs. And I'm going to, for the next one, I'm going to again grab something that I found online. I think this is the one. I'll have to go back and reread it. So we don't need this anymore. But I think it's this one right here. Or is it this one? Nope, I think it's this one from Real Python. And it is, as you can see, build a tic-tac-toe game with Python and TKinter. All right, and it's, again, very laid out as far as the way it is set up here. I think I'm going to do that one next. When I get done with that one, I'm going to go back to one that I've written. All right, and that is a program with rock, paper, scissors that I'm going to rewrite, and I'm going to rewrite it using TKinter. So it's going to be GUI. All right, so we'll do that. And after we get done with that, I think we've done enough GUI applications. I'm hoping that you feel that way. Now, I found an article that was online that compared Django, it compared Django as far as its use in being able to create web-based applications with some of the other things that are available in Python. All right, so that's what I wanted to go into next. All right, and the only thing I would tell you is there have been people who have left. I don't have that many people on this channel, which is fine. Heck, if I have nobody on this channel, I'm going to keep doing it anyway. All right, but if you have questions or if you have comments, feel free to leave them, and I'll try to answer them if I can. Thanks, and I will be back shortly with this next example.